Imagine if instead of that photo of Tony Hawk doing the air, if he did like a soul grind and that was it. It's like legit Tony Hawk doing a soul grind. That would be hilarious. Even
No,
if
I
it
mean, it
wasn't
looks
roller
like
skates.
it
You
looks
think
like
he's
it.
got?
Oh,
I don't think he's got a soul at all. I mean, to be honest, I don't think I have a soul on roller skates, but that would be just pretty funny. I think he's talking about grinding on trucks. With the soul grind on roller skates, you're grinding on trucks. Same shit, right, Tony?
Tony
Yeah.
Hawk can definitely to get the soul grind after a bit, you know.
After a
But
bit, probably. But there's like also that video of Rob Scallon and Jaws, which is like one of the gnarliest skateboarders ever, and they swap roller skates to skateboard, and Jaws couldn't like barely stand on rollerblades. You know, it's I don't know how Tony is on the roller skates. We only saw a photo of it. We didn't see how sketchy it was. He could have ate so much shit in that picture. We have no idea. You know, he could have just sent it. Um, you
yeah,
never know.
I think that actually goes into like narratives surrounding rollerblading. There were all these like narratives, and one that like they're attached to your feet. It's easy, and that comes up in the Arlo interview. And I think the introduction to rollerblading can be not as tall of a wall to climb than the introduction to getting going skateboarding. But in terms of like it being easier than the other, has been kind of disproven when you see, people who are high level skateboarders attempting rollerblading. And that's the thing about rollerblading. It looks like pretty goofy in the beginning. You look like, maybe on a giraffe on stilts if you don't know what you're doing, right? It's not as like
Baby
it
deer.
takes, yeah, baby deer. It takes a second to get comfortable. But there's a few skateboarders that have tried blading, not just Jaws, but a pretty well known one is Vincent Luevanos. He has an Instagram called Blader Foo, where he's been trying to blade since COVID, I think 2020, and he's done like I think he's blunt slide or kickflip tail slide on Staples Center on a skateboard, and you see him blading, and he's like trying to skate P rails and things like that. So like it's easy narrative is weird because I think anything is easy relatively, like like running, for example. I think Arlo brought this up in the Big Brother interview. Running anyone can do, but to do like the 200-meter at the speed Michael Johnson, the runner at the time, is going to do it, is different levels, and there's always like higher levels for whatever thing you're getting into, despite the entry level of difficulty that it is to get into it. So I think it's uh weird argument, but I get where it comes from. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The
I,
it's attached to your feet thing is a reason for it. It should be discredited. No, I don't buy that. I These are individual activities. They're limitless in and it comes down to how hard do you want to make it. Anybody that's been at it for some time, no matter what you use, gets that.
yeah.
Absolutely.
The skill level is insane. Whether you say skating is easy, if you can't put a regular person on skates or someone who could like grind a 30 stair rail on a skateboard and just transfer it straight over to rollerblades and just start grinding rails. It's like not the same at all. It's different skill levels across the board. So yeah, that attach your feet mantra is totally dead.
Actually, when I was talking to Arlo, he actually told me that Dave Carney has a hockey background, so he knows what he's doing on skates. He knows how to use
Okay.
skates. Um,
I wonder if there's
and
footage of him
that's
skating.
no,
It,
there is.
Oh, is
it
there?
There,
is.
yeah, there's like a whole thing in the he dresses up like very effeminately, and he has like pink skates on, and is like trying to look goofy on purpose. It's from back around when
Oh,
he did
I didn't know that was him.
back when he did
Okay.
the interview with Arlo back in the
Yeah,
day.
I got you. I
Yeah.
didn't know that was him.
So I don't know. It's funny. It's funny to think about. But I think it's also worth mentioning that I guess they talked about in the Arlo interview about like the importance of gatekeeping and like superiority of skateboarding and the importance of that. Like, and that's how it was like it was the anti culture against like jock culture, for example. and that they were doing something hard that no one could touch. And I guess that translated to rollerblading. But again, like it's weird how it meshes with roller skating. I don't see how that particularly works, but I don't know.
Well, he said it translates to roller skating because they use trucks, right? Do skateboarders feel the same way about scooters because they use a board on a scooter? Is it the same shit? They do board slides and shit on scooters.
Yeah, I think there might be called board slides too.
I don't know what
I
they're
don't
called,
know.
but it's the same shit pretty much. It's still a board, you know. I don't know for sure, but are skateboarders that tight with scooters because of that
And here's
too?
the big question. Here's the real big question. Can scooters grind? See, and here's the
Of
it's
course.
it's metal, but they're not trucks.
Yeah, they were more of a bike, if anything, because they do have pegs. Well, they're both. I mean, a scooter is really a mix of everything. It's got rollerblading wheels, a skateboard deck, and BMX pegs and handlebars. So it's like just a hybrid of everything, you know?
Are BMXers grinding when they put plastic pegs on?
Yeah, there you go. I was thinking about that too when you were talking about that earlier, because that is a big thing now. A lot of bikers do use plastic pegs, or no pegs at all. Honestly, just sliding on a fucking. Oh, I guess sprocket is metal too, but yeah, plastic pegs. Does that negate the fact that they're grinding?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're digging a hole here.
I don't even think that they care about even trying to define what grinding is. I just feel like it was something stupidly said in maybe the heat of the moment because there's an investment opportunity. I just see dollars behind it, not actual substance as far as like an idea or a thought.
Yeah, but I feel like it was and that's why it's like familiar because I feel like ultimately wasn't it always kind of about that in some capacity or another, like the anti-blading campaigns.
Yeah, no, I almost feel like baited a little bit to respond to it because again, I don't think it was like authentic or
Right.
genuine. I just think that they were trying to just grab at whatever they
Yeah.
could to stir the pot to continue down some type of narrative that can keep blading suppressed. Because now there's a new growing sport, predominantly female populated, and I think that there's avenues that they could explore to bring more dollars to skateboarding. I just I just see it as that. I don't think it was
Yeah,
authentic.
I
Mm.
agree. I don't think it's like super deep, but yeah, I think it is. It is that like inauthentic, just way to just validate
Yeah,
something with like and trying to reconcile validating it with just the years of dismissing this and how that works. But
right. Yeah,
it,
knowing that like the consumer at large is gonna bicker about it and find some kind of way to alienate someone else at the expense of bigging up somebody else. In this specific case, skateboarding was able to elevate itself into the limelight. Rollerblading was then mocked out of existence. And we all know the story behind the X Games and how there was that board meeting where people behind board culture were pushing to have it removed, and that was like the kiss of death right there.
yeah, and even there was like an Andrew Schultz podcast with Tony Hawk, and even on that podcast, he was like, "Well, early X Games was crazy. They had rollerblading, they had sky surfing, they had mountain climbing, they had like luging and stuff like that." And so he was kind of trying to put rollerblading even in that. That's what I mean, like the little dismissiveness, like with like sky surfing, like skydiving with a snowboard on, and these other things. And then on the podcast, the co-host like Akash, he was like, well, actually, I feel like rollerblading was more closely associated with what you guys are doing because you guys are using the same ramps and things like that. So Yeah, I just think there is, even from like Tony's direction, like, there's been like the overt movements against blading that like Dave Carney has, but then there's like the more subtle ones that like Tony does. He just tries to put us in with
Yeah,
sky
like
surfing,
label
dude.
us. Yeah, we're just a
Yeah,
fad.
yeah. It
Yeah,
is
that didn't make sense either. That Tony Hawk called rollerblading a fad. Somebody who's like involved in extreme sports, I feel like that doesn't make any sense to say, because nothing that has been an extreme sport or a wheeled sport, whatever you want to call what we do, has ever been a fad. Skateboarding, BMX, rollerblading, even scooter. Like, would you say that that's a fad? No, there's still scooters around now. We still see them.